All right. This is going to be a unscripted video, a little bit of a reflective and retrospective on the game I made for the Pirate Software Game Jam. So yeah, let's just get into it. If you are new here, I am Dr. Puzzler, and I make video games, and I make videos about video games and stuff. And so in the last couple of weeks, I was participating in the Pirate Software Game Jam. If you don't know what a game jam is, it's basically a event where a bunch of game developers come together and make short games in a specified time frame with a particular theme. So this one, it was 2 weeks long, and the theme was Shadows and Alchemy. So I made this little game here called The Pit and the Pentagram. And so I just kind of wanted to play through it, and kind of talk about the overall experience that I had working on this game, and some of my thoughts at the end of the jam. I should note that the judging has not finished yet. I think they still got about another week and a half for the judging, so the results have not come in yet. I almost certainly will not win at all, but, I thought it would be fun to do a little retrospective before the results came out, in case, something happened. Just kind of have some, I feel, pure thoughts on it. So I'm just going to play the game before we go through the overall, before we fly through the progress and what the game looks behind the scenes. Turn down the volume on my end a little bit. Yeah. So this is the idea is that this is a kind of sandbox walking simulator type of game, with some light story elements. So basically, we have this little plaque here, and there's a bunch of different rooms with different ingredients that we can then combine together to make weird, spooky stuff happen. So we got lead, obsidian, and quartz. And so I can just click on my mouse or the E key and boom. Then I can head over here. Got a bunch of different liquids. We have water, acid, and alcohol. I'll pick water for now. The colliders on these are a little weird. I think I know how to fix it, but I didn't figure it out until after the jam ended, so it's unfortunate. I think over this way we have a book, which kind of has the different elements listed out, what they each do. I'm not going to worry about reading through this. Play it yourself if you want to go through all the lore and stuff. But our overall goal here is to break the doors and unleash the this eldritch being. So we have to figure out how to break these doors here. And this is one of the power stations. This is, I believe, Cosmic. I'm honestly really happy with the overall vibe of the game. I feel like when it comes to the visuals, I feel like I did a pretty good job with the visuals and aesthetic of the game. And I think the audio, I'm not really great at doing audio, but I definitely feel like I did pretty good here, especially considering how much I am just not good at doing audio generally. I definitely think that I did well here. Really happy with the overall vibe of the game. Oh, that was weird. That material took a little bit of time to load. So yeah, so once we finish, once we compile all of these different elements, weird stuff will happen. So this is an energy field for healing lifesteal. And then if I change any of the elements, things will change here, like the color, the how big it is, the different materials it's using. If I head over here and say change it to arcane, then this changes to be a potion. And then depending on the material, like if I head over here and say change the material to lead, we'll get kind of this neat looking, you can see like the liquid material has changed to this like thicker opaque fluid. And you know, if I head over here and we're to say change the liquid element, and you can see actually the pipes here, oh my goodness, it's lagging so bad. It's probably because I'm running like a whole bunch of stuff at once, but you can see the color has changed here. Anyways, and we're back. Now I'm going to have to redo all this stuff. But anyways, if you make the right combination of materials and stuff, then the game will it has like this spooky ending where this weird eldritch horror has been released. It's not really explained in the game what exactly you have done or why. It's just kind of fun. Honestly, if there's anything I could say that I definitely wish was done better in the game, is I definitely feel like the overall graphics and aesthetic of the game is like actually really decent. But the biggest issue I've found, we got a shovel, butter knife, spade, and it's got like a crystalline base because we chose quartz. But can actually see if we head over here, if we were to change it to say like lead, and we come over here, the main explanation remains the same, but you can see the material has changed to this more metallic material, which I think is just pretty neat. No, I think that the gameplay suffers here. There isn't a whole ton to do. The whole idea... Oh, yep, there we go. That opens up the doors. Reason being that we have this giant energy field because we chose the most powerful blood. We used acid, and then we used acid. So this will break through the doors because it's acid. No, like the whole point of it is like to explore and kind of stuff, but I definitely feel like after a little bit, it kind of just gets boring. There isn't enough differences within the different things you can try out to really create any particular how do you say, there isn't like enough differences in all the combinations you can make to really make it super worthwhile. Like even the descriptions, a lot of them are just variations off of each other. And part of this was because just time constraints. Like I just didn't have enough time to make different stuff for all these. And if I had more time, I think that's what I would do, is I would spend more time on the different aspects of the on the different combinations and stuff you can do with the different alchemical elements. I definitely wish that was explored more. Unfortunately, I didn't really have a ton of enough time to really go in depth with it. I mean, like, the original version of the game was kind of 4 of each element, which had, like, I think it was like a little over 1,000 separate individual combinations. And there could be some amount of, like, consolidation there with, like, you know, using different material, having some elements just affect the, you know, material and whatnot. But even when I cut it down, there was, like, a couple times when I had to cut that down, and I think I got down to, like, it was like 250, and still that was just way too much, and so I ended up making it down to around 80 different stuff, and even then, like, I just struggled to come up with, like, unique stuff in this small amount of time. But yeah, as you can see here, we successfully compiled these different elements, and now we have this eldritch tendril stuff around, and spooky and quiet, and we have this ominous thingy. And if we come over here, oh, the pentagram's gone. It's just a dark pit. I don't even know if you can really tell because it's so dark. And then there's, like, this jump scare. I was actually pretty happy with how that little end thing turned out, and then the game quits itself. So that's the game. I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a fly through and look at stuff. So this is the whole map without any of, like, the fog or anything like that. This is just what everything just looks like. I'm pretty sure the map itself, I think I made this map on day 1. I think I just spent like 30 minutes with, like, some graph paper just sketching out kind of what I wanted things to look like, and then I just went into Blender and just traced that out. I remember I had to do, like, a couple of different versions of it because it wasn't tracing out right, but after a couple of different attempts, I got it to have good proportions for the player character. Yeah, I don't know if there's, like, really a whole ton to look at here. You pretty much get to see everything in the map at the just playing through. There's a couple of different things here. That's the UI, I think, for the various UI elements. We have the tendrils, which are disabled at first, of course. These guys here, so I rigged up the tendrils, just simple bones, right? And then in Unity, after I imported them from Blender, these guys here, I just used, what's the term? Not inverse kinematic, whatever the other thing is called. This is editing Puzzler here. It's called forward kinematics. So you have inverse kinematics and forward kinematics. Wanted to clear that up. I forget what the opposite of inverse kinematics is called. There's a great Doodly video about it. Obviously, I should probably watch it again. But basically, I just, bone by bone, moved those around. And then for these guys here, I made gave them an IK controller, which made them a lot easier to animate, which, was nice to have. It was quite a bit of fun. I've never used inverse kinematics before, and so it was interesting to try and learn. I tried to get to work with splines, and I couldn't figure it out. I'm sure there's a way. I was able to get it to work in Blender, but not in Unity, so I don't know. It would have been nice to use splines, just because you get a little bit more control there than just a single constraint, but didn't really have enough time or patience to do that. One thing I did want to mention before we go back in time using the magic of GitHub is that you'll notice everything here is textured, and there's these nice lighting on the textures. We have these, it's not, the models aren't actually that detailed. It's just a normal map that gives it these nice reflections and whatnot. And, oh, that's not what I wanted to do at all. It's actually kind of neat. Almost everything in the game, with a couple of small exceptions, are using a single texture. Where is it? Right down here. Just a single texture, which this in and of itself is just from Procreate. There's a brush in Procreate called Tinderbox, I think is what it's called, Tinderbox. Anyways, it has this nice pattern. It's the brush I use for most of my art, because it just looks nice, has a nice texture to it, and so I was able to just draw it in a single square, export that out, and then Unity is nice because it has its own normal map conversion stuff. It's not going to be perfect, of course, but it works well enough for me. Oh, interesting, you can change the resolution of it. I didn't know that. That's kind of neat. Anyways, but yeah, so I just converted that into a normal map, so you got these two. And pretty much every single material in the game, if I can find the materials, you'll see is just using this exact same texture. And then I'm just using different, settings on the, I'm just using different, the different settings in the material, for like how much the normal map will affect it, how metallic and smooth it is, the color, etc., etc., etc. Which I just think is really neat because it goes to show that you really don't need a ton of, to make a ton of like custom assets in something simple like this. Like this works just fine. It looks really nice. Just with this single texture. It's not really something that you really notice. And sure, like individual textures for everything would be nice, but it's not required. It's completely fine to not do that. I'm pretty sure, actually, the only time when a different texture is used, okay, well, so there's a couple of things. There's obviously, these sigils that appear. Those aren't really textures, though. They're just sprite that I've just kind of stuck onto a 3D model, which works well enough. And same over here with this. This is just a sprite I made in Affinity. But the book actually is the book pages are the only textures that are different. And honestly, they themselves are kind of the same in certain ways. Like if we find the book folder here, you can see every page is still using that same normal map. It's just the actual base map that is different. Obviously, because you don't want a bunch of blank pages. But I mean, like they use this same Tinderbox background. It's just that they also have writing and stuff on the top, and all of that was done in Procreate as well. Just spent like a day doing the drawing and writing for those pages. And same with all the animations for the different sigils, the different the royal boiling animation, I guess maybe is what you could call it. All that's just done in Procreate, just frame by frame animation, not too difficult. But yeah, now that we've kind of looked at that, we're going to use the magic of GitHub to go back into history. And I'm probably going to, because these first few commits are just some basic boilerplate stuff, getting in a couple of assets. Actually, there's one thing I wanted to mention too. I'm actually really proud of this. The entirety of the game, with a couple of small exceptions, is programmed from scratch. So all of the code here is programmed completely from scratch. Obviously, I'm using a game engine, so I'm not making my own custom game engine for this or anything like that. and I believe there are, that's right, so there are two third-party scripts and assets that I'm using. One is Text Animator, which is a really, really nice asset for Unity. I've been using it in a bunch of my games. Copper 7 / Rusted Corruption is using it. Where did it go? Isn't this supposed to have it on? I don't know why that's being weird, but okay. I guess I just decided I wanted to break. But no, it's a really nice asset for Unity that kind of lets you animate Text Mesh Pro elements. I wonder what happens if I reload the scene. No. The way I import this sometimes makes it a little bit run a little bit weird. But anyways, it's really nice. Lets you get some cool animations. And then I also have an asset called DoTween that I have also imported. Not even sure where it lives. Plugins, yeah. DoTween, it's just a simple tweening, lerping asset for, you know, making simple tweening animations just in code. Which it's free on the asset store. And so those are really the only two things that are actually brought in. Everything else is programmed from scratch. And, you know, I love using Adventure Creator, working with that tool. It makes a lot of things really easy. But every now and again, taking a step back and just making something from scratch is a lot of fun, actually. I really enjoy it every time I do that. So, you know. But anyways, with that out of the way, let's just head to here. It's weird seeing this 3 months ago. It doesn't feel like it's that long. Wait, no way that's 3 months. Shouldn't that be weeks? You know, that's not months. GitHub is, oh wait, no, I'm looking at the source. Oh, that's actually really funny. That's actually really funny. Reload. I'm actually very curious if it actually fixed this. No. Whatever. Great game. I was so confused there. Nope. Okay, so now we're on the right thing. So let's go to this commit right here. We're gonna, so you can see actually we got a very much simpler version. I think this is the exact, is it? Yeah, actually this looks about the same. I'm not 100% sure if this is the same model or if this was, no, I'm pretty sure this is the same. Anyways, that doesn't really matter. But this is the first fully working player that I had here. There was a bit, pretty much the full first day was spent working on both on the, you know, the ideation, you know, brainstorming, making the map. We had weird cursor stuff issues, and getting the player controller to work. And the player controller I really struggled with. There was just a couple things I could not figure out, and so I kind of gave up at the end of the first day. I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna make a just get something off the asset store, and it was fine. But the next day I was like, I really kind of want to try and do this myself, you know, learn something. And so I kind of started back again, went to a Brackeys tutorial to kind of see what I was doing wrong. And it turns out I actually had most of the elements from my original character controller were actually spot on. There was just a couple of small details that I needed to fix. You can actually also see here the flashlight, the kind of the flashlight that the player has throughout the game is a lot larger here and extends more. And I wish I could have kept that. I actually really liked the longer flashlight, the biggest issue with it is when you get close up to something, it shines like that, which, especially when I started working with, smoother metallic materials, it just did not look good at all, and I couldn't figure out how to get rid of that. And so I kind of just opted for a smaller, dimmer light, which was kind of meh, but worked in that sense. That's actually another problem with the final game that I really kind of wish I had spent a bit more time on, was the lighting. I definitely feel that the overall lighting should have been a teensy bit brighter, since it's just a little difficult to navigate through it unless you really know where you're going. But anyways, so that's kind of this first main prototype. So at this point, I think I had, if I remember right, I had pretty much done most of the 3D modeling necessary for the game, with a couple of exceptions. Mainly the stuff for the ending. And the actual, this is when I had finished up, I think, the actual, the code for the actual interactions. Yeah, you can see, like, already things have changed, look a lot more like the current versions. You can see it, nothing's textured yet, actually. Everything's still just plain. And also, you can really tell, I need to fix that, like, how much this actually how much adding those textures actually aids the game. Like, you don't really think about it at first. Like, it just looks nice. But when you look at it like this, and it just, like this can work, this like simpler art style without textures can definitely work. But I think it's a lot more difficult to make it work. But I'm pretty sure, like, obviously, as you can tell, there's just no sounds. Oh, that's different. This used to be electricity. I changed that to arcane when I kind of figured out what I wanted this one to do. And so basically, I believe you can pretty much just do the actual, like, interaction part of it. It doesn't actually really do anything other than just turn on different lights. So there's no actual, like, special effects at this point, but you do got, like, the your animations and whatnot. And so I think for the most part, like, everything was working pretty much as is, which is neat to kind of see that progress. Actually, I can't remember. Did this have the intro? I wasn't paying attention. Okay, yeah, it did. It definitely did have the intro. I remember I made that intro just kind of on a whim. Just to kind of create like a cool little screenshot / video. I thought was pretty neat. Made that in like an hour maybe. So yeah, definitely really nice. Let's head back to the history and let's move up. So this, I believe, is where we actually added the materials, and I'm not gonna worry about that for now. I think at this point there isn't really anything particularly new to show off in the history. Because like I think like around here is when stuff was actually coming together, and the actual like effects were coming together. So I think I'm just gonna leave this as is. Actually, we can take a look at the change right here. Ask us to reload. You can already see, like, it's small, but it makes a big difference when it comes down to actually playing. So yeah, to reflect on this, this was definitely a really good experience. A lot of fun. I love doing game jams every now and again. It's a nice way to kind of take a bit of a break from my main projects, and just kind of start with something new, experience a full development cycle, create something kind of cool, get some new ideas for potential future games. I mean, like, all the games I'm working on right now, and probably my favorite games that I've made, started out as Game Jam games. I mean, like, In the Darkness, that was started out as a Game Jam game. The Source was initially a Game Jam game. Rust of Corruption, obviously, started out as a Game Jam. And yeah, I just think it's a lot of fun. If I were to expand on this or work on this more, probably the two biggest things, probably the biggest things I'd want to fix. One, obviously the lighting. I think that making it easier to navigate around, making things a little bit brighter might be nice. Two, definitely make it so that way there's more actual interesting stuff happening with when you combine different ingredients. Maybe give the stuff, these things, these blurbs a little bit more story-centric, make them kind of delve into the lore of the world a little bit more, maybe. And then three, honestly, I would probably make it so that way there was like some sort of a indicator here, like to make it a bit more clear that you need to turn on stuff from every single one of these element types, because that was definitely something in play testing when some people were testing it out or playing through the game. It was definitely a big thing that I noticed, is that the actual clarity on how you're supposed to play the game and what you're supposed to do wasn't really all that great. But yeah, overall, I am actually really happy with how this turned out. It's definitely got issues. It's not perfect by any means, but it's a beautiful mess. I'm actually quite happy with it. It's was a lot of fun to make, so that's really all that matters. I learned quite a bit. Got to have some experience working on another 3D project. It's not something I do a whole ton. Generally, the stuff I make is in 2D. I have delved into 3D a few times before, and it's always a lot of fun to kind of mess around with that. So, yeah, I'm just going to cut it off here. At this point, we're like 36 minutes into the recording, and I know you guys don't want to listen to me ramble for any longer than this. So that's really all I have to say at the moment. If there is anything else I could add on, is not the Have a Nice Death Wiki, but instead, you can check out both my games on Steam. I have The Source and Rust of Corruption, both of which you can wishlist and play the demos of. The Source is getting a brand new demo very soon. Now that this game jam is over, I've been able to kind of get back in the swing of working on that game, and this is getting a completely revamped, brand new, rebuilt from the ground up demo with expanded character dialogues and after I've kind of fleshed out the lore a little bit more. So definitely be sure to check that out. When that comes out, if you want to follow me and get the latest news, you can hop on into the Discord, or you can follow me on the Twitter. That's where I'm most active, and by that I mean, well, Twitter and Discord is where I'm the most active, and by that I mean I try to be active, but I kind of fail. But hey, if you want to hang out, talk to me, I will be there. Trying to think if there's anything else. Typical YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, comment, yada yada yada. We all get it at this point. Yeah, that's all I really have to say here. If you haven't played if you haven't played the Pit and the Pentagram yet, the link will be in the description to that as well. So be sure to check it out, try it out for yourself. I thought it was fun to make. Be fun to see you guys try out. If you want to give any feedbacks or whatever, that would be cool too. But all up to you. And that's all I really have to say. I'm going to stop talking now. So until next time, farewell, goodbye.